Dennis Buckley is renovating this jet boat, which he bought accidentally in an auction 10 years ago.
To get this working well, to me, is to get it running without a car radiator in there.
There it is, spare engine.
And the usability of the boat is the most important thing.
He's a busy mechanic, constantly in demand, and the man that can.
I think it's other people's faith in me that I can do a better job than them, even when it comes to just topping one. There you see, I can do anything.
Which means finding time for his own projects is pretty difficult.
Hello, thanks, bye. Hello, 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 hello. Not just at the moment, what do you want?
And this boat's been sitting in his backyard for 10 years. So far, he's managed to get the engine started. But before he goes any further, he needs to test the jet unit to find out whether this project is worth continuing with.
Don't even think about it, Dennis.
If you've got a boat, you've got an engine, and you've got some propulsion unit of any sort, then all you've got to do is get all three of them working together.
You do that, and I'll stand on the bank.
Yeah. These do run up the banks, don't they, quite well?
It's the big day of the test, and Dennis will find out whether this boat renovation is worth carrying on.
Right, we've refitted the engine and piped it up from the back on this jet unit. It was in a central heating valve, as it happens, because it was just the only thing I can find that was the exact size.
The jet unit is made up of two impellers that suck water up and then power it out through the directional nozzle.
The main reason, obviously, for this test is just to see if this jet unit works. The engine I'm not so bothered about.
The unit also cools the engine. Dennis isn't sure how, but he's rigged up what he thinks might work.
And the water will go through this manifold, round the other side, out the other manifold, and out the side of the boat there.
And of course, no expense has been spared.
And I found a piece of stainless steel pipe here from a vacuum cleaner that just happened to fit exactly right for sleeving.
And just for the test, he's rigged up one of his old racing seats.
Yeah, I don't think you don't feel any pain when you're going fast and adrenaline's pumping.
Dennis has managed to persuade a local jet ski centre to become today's test bed for the jet boat.
Right. Safety.
Dennis has never launched a jet boat before, and because this boat is totally untried and untested, he wants to start her up before she goes in the water. But there's a problem. With the jet unit not immersed in water, the propeller shaft is heating up fast.
That bear is drying, that back. So I said that had to be water, else it weren't going to work.
Push that slide, push.
Dennis is going to need a push. And as an expectant crowd looks on, it looks as if this jet boat should perhaps have remained in the scrapyard. But Dennis fires her up one more time. The test exceeds all expectations, and for the first time, this jet boat looks the business. the engine can power the unit, and the unit has enough grunt to get the boat up on the plane.
That was 10 out of 10 there for what you could get out of what's there. You couldn't have expected any better than what we did.
All of Dennis's technical questions have been answered, and now he can look forward to finishing the project.
With no doubts at all now. We know that engine is, even with its weight, is capable of propelling that boat at a decent speed, getting it to where it needs to be, on top of the water rather than sat in it. We know that the jet unit itself is capable of pulling the size of that boat and the weight out of the water. And the rest of it's cosmetic after that. No problems so far, no failures.
Yeah.
With Dennis brimming with his recent success, I decided to journey up and find out what his next move will be, now that he's proved the boat can actually work.
Initially, Dennis, there were as I recall, there were three issues really with this boat. There was the engine, would it work at all, and could it be cooled? There was the jet unit, which neither of us knew much about, and there was the obvious cosmetic state of the boat. Well, it looks like you've got the engine going, although there's still a bit of a question mark about the cooling. You've proved that the jet unit works, which is amazing. I mean, that's brilliant, isn't it? But, you know, before you can put the boat on the water and take the family out in it, there's a massive amount to do.
Basically, I had to go back and put everything as it was, so to speak, to find out whether it worked.
Yeah.
Because we were sort of convinced. I knew the engine worked.
Yeah.
It's whether the engine actually worked in this boat, in that position, and with that unit. I did connect some pipes, which I've got one here, being fed from the jet unit.
Right.
Which I did a bit of sucking and blowing through pipes that are coming out in various places on these manifolds, these marinising units. We don't need it to go out that way. I think it needs to go out through the exhaust.
Yes.
So the thing about it now is I've got to get stuck in and make everything look pretty and safe.
Immediately, I was concerned that although Dennis had proved the mechanics of the boat worked, cosmetically she was a long, long way from completion.
Well, I've got deep concerns about the interior, Dennis, and I have, and that's a fact. I mean, you know, we've got a bit of a steering shaft here. We don't even know if it's connected. You've got that to do, you've got seats to organise, you've got a windscreen to come up with. There's all sorts of stuff that's got to happen.
I was thinking of maybe just a simple putting a support across here, putting a panel in and a lid on.
Yes. So you've got to box this in. You've also, I can't see any sign of a fuel tank anywhere.
The fuel tank's over here. We took it off. Pretty sound.
Is it?
It's not in bad condition.
Doesn't
really.
look bad actually, does it? And what about?
So
it's pretty blooming pitted here, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's solid.
Yeah. I mean, there is so much to do here, Dennis. I can't believe you're as calm as you are.
I couldn't help thinking that perhaps if Dennis put a little more finance into the project, things might move along a bit quicker.
Yeah. So far, I've got an astonishing budget on this boat. You know.
How much have you spent so far?
I've got 2 50p rubber bungs. That's all I've spent so far.
Well, I've got to say, Dennis, I don't like to be rude, but it looks like it.
Keen to find out what other cosmetic ideas Dennis has for the boat, we decided to search out the seating arrangements. And courtesy of Dennis's own garage, a pair of Saab 9000 seats are what he has in mind.
It's even tax exempt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one before the S-Type, wasn't it? This one is a lot lighter. This is the one you carried round, Dennis.
Why is it light?
Because it's not the blooming driver's seat with all the gubbins in it.
Oh, it is lighter. You're right.
Nobody's ever going to tell me you're stupid now.
Did they in the first place?
No, they didn't, but that was a smart choice. Have you felt the weight of that one? Well, this looks pretty puckered, doesn't it?
That's brilliant.
Oh, God, you can't beat these seats, can you? Drove all the way up from Southampton on one of these.
Plenty of leg room.
Yeah, lovely.
Lovely, that.
Nice
Right.
height, too. Nice and safe. You're well down in the boat.
You think this is about right?
Yeah, spot
right
on.
For that? Spot on.
Spot
So
on.
we don't need to stand them on a rack
No,
and
and
get
plus,
them
because they're so soft and they've got some give, if the boat's pounding when it hits a few waves, it'll give you a bit of protection.
Yes. Would you like to drive?
Oh, I don't mind if I do, Dennis. Well, it's a real pressure job now, this, Dennis, isn't it, really? I mean, I don't even want to think about what there is to do.
Well, I don't sort of feel pressure as such. I feel that it gives me a definite target instead of being willy-nilly, oh, it's sometime in future.
Yeah.
It's a day to be finished.
Dennis never ceases to amaze me. He's got 1 week to go, and you look at that project and you think, he hasn't got a snowball's chance. And then you start talking to him, and there's something about him is very plausible.
I'd like a nice piece of aluminium checker plate across there. It'll give strength to this whole front end.
He keeps coming up with the answers. Nothing's ever a problem.
Well, the thing is, my experiments normally don't take long.
But the talking's got to stop. 1 week. He's going to lift the engine out, have it shot blasted, painted, put it back in, steam clean the inside of the boat, sort all that, finish off with his cooling worries. Then he's going to get his checker to put across the dashboard, which it needs to strengthen up all the foredeck. All the instruments have got to be done. He's got to bolt the seats down, paint it. And then we're off for a motorboat trip in 1 week's time. Well, all I'd say is join me then and see what happens.
A lot of work to do, and a week to do it in.